Yes. I'd like to call the March 16th, 2023 Wall City Council meeting to order. And Carolyn, if you would please read roll.
Welsh,
Here.
Morgan,
Here.
Stan Anderson, Husted,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Hawk,
Here.
Mike Anderson.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Garrett, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Carolyn, do we have any order of business for emergency?
We do not.
Okay. And do we have someone attending on Zoom?
Yes, we have Councilwoman Welsh on Zoom.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay,
That wasn't opposing. I was with you.
okay, so. Okay, got it. Okay, so motion carries unanimously. Okay, so is there anyone that needs to declare a conflict of interest? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the March 2nd meeting, the City of Wall Fire Department Library and Cemetery claims.
No cemetery, sorry. I didn't get it off of there when I printed, but no cemetery claims came in today.
Okay, City of Wall Fire Department and Library claims, the
So
budget report, as well as the community center report, golf course, water usage, sales tax, cash, and money market balance. And Jerry has moved to approve the consent agenda because he's so enthusiastic,
Second.
and Dan has seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Kelly. Motion carries. Okay, in that, because Dr. Pittman could not be here today, she did send a short written report. And that included the fact that she is working to obtain a South Dakota Workforce Grant to help fund the new career technical building. And that would be $225,000, and some of us have written letters of support for that. State assessments, which participation in that is very important. It affects the district report card, and state regulations are beginning to start in grades 3 through 8 and 11. Makeup day for the state girls basketball is April 14th. The prom is April 15th. And she has noticed that spring fever has set in. Okay, so then that moves us right along then to the TDM and KLJ. We do have a pay request for number 4. Would you like to talk about that a bit, Dana, or?
Sure, thanks for having me back, Mayor and Council. Application number 4 with TDM, that's where the Hanson subdivision work, primarily the Gloria Street portion of the work where Todd out there is getting close to being done, and this really reflects work that was done in February. So, he has just a little bit of cleanup and some seeding to do here going forward, and very close on that project, which is good news, and already brought housing on board for the area.
Absolutely, and it looks like a real street, both of them, and you can
Yes.
drive on it.
Yep.
It's very good.
Yeah, he's done a very good job of it.
Okay, so this pay request is for $83,369.20. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Dan has moved,
Second.
Mike has seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 No? Motion carries. And just because I was interested, and people often ask, the Kelly Avenue, we have spent $159,929 to date, and Gloria Street's $199,739. And so that leaves a bit, about $37,000 to do the seeding and topsoiling. I believe that Dana referred to just a moment ago. And so then, Dana, would you like to bring us or talk to us about our different projects we've got going that we work with you on?
Sure. So on the handout I put in front of everybody. First up is Echo Valley subdivision phase 1. So right now we're working through material submittals with Quality Construction that the contractor selected on that one. We're anticipating a start in about May, so it's kind of a spring start. I would anticipate roughly about a 3-month construction time. That we don't have their official schedule yet, but once here pretty soon we'll set up a pre-con meeting. We'll get the official schedule, but I would anticipate about a 3-month construction there. So we are coordinating using some of the asphalt millings that are going to come off of the airport project. There's a fairly decent amount of millings there that'll come off that we're looking into blending those asphalt millings with some gravel material and making a road base out of that. Will should have a pretty significant savings to the city by doing that. So, and we kind of we'll coordinate a little more with Garrett and the airport engineer on that. And then the plat, which is another agenda item. We can discuss that when that comes up on the agenda. Industrial park development. In February, we really went through a lot of testing and getting that one pretty much to the end. The main thing there is there's some cleanup has to be done with some of the stuff they mucked up with the wet dirt out there, and then reseed it, and then kind of a final payoff. So that'll be in the spring that we do that. And some subdivision, we just talked about that a little bit, really just a little bit of seeding and the final payoff of that one. So we're coming to the end on that one as well. 4th Avenue reconstruction. Guys were out there surveying in February when we had some better weather. That went pretty well. That'll really allow us to final up the design, get it into the state, and then hit that fall bidding. Kind of tracking about right there. And we'll have kind of a plan review with Garrett to go through stuff.
Okay,
Any questions on any of that?
okay.
Yeah, we're looking good. It's kind of nice to see some of those projects finishing up and moving on to the next ones.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any visitors tonight? Okay, that brings us to our agenda request. Lee.
Council, I wanted to address this at the last meeting, but we didn't have a full house of council members, and we still don't today, but I'm gonna go forward anyway. And what I want to do is I want to go back to agenda item number 7, which is conflict of interest. And I guess what I would like to hear from each council member is to give me your definition of what a conflict of interest is and an example of that.
Lee,
Yeah,
you can do your own research on conflict of interest. We've talked about a lot. I'm not giving you a definition or an example.
so you aren't or you can't. It's an agenda item that you guys approved to move forward in the
Yeah, but
meeting.
I'm not gonna give you a definition. And you can go down to each councilman, but I'm gonna pass on that. I don't want to be interrogated by you.
I'm not,
And you know, you bring this up, you bring this litigation up every time, the same thing. I see you didn't even change. We're still using the February item on the list. And plus, I would like to,
you guys don't give me anything on here. The last time I put agenda items on here, I got my name on here. That's it. So what's the difference?
well, it doesn't have a correct date on it. And then the other thing, do the citizens know that you're not a citizen of Wall? You don't actually live in Wall?
I own property in Wall. No, I do not live in Wall.
And you're not a citizen of Wall. You do
We've
own a
got
business in
council
Wall.
member that lives out of state half the year. He's allowed to sit on the council. I'm not allowed to come up here and ask
Well, I
questions
didn't,
of the council, Rick.
well, yeah, you can. You're on the agenda.
And you're not gonna answer any questions.
Well, conflict of interest is a legal term, and I'm happy to send you cases.
My conversation is not with you, Stephanie. Last time I checked, you weren't voted to the council.
I am legal counsel for this council.
Correct, but
yes.
this is not me asking a legal question. These guys,
It is
these
you asking a legal question.
guys make decisions on what they're doing, and they ought to be able to explain to the citizens as to why they make those decisions.
Okay.
What is considered a conflict of interest for the individuals that sit up here?
Yes.
Because
and
there
that
aren't
is-
even being declared.
That is a legal question that, as you know, is currently subject of litigation going to the South Dakota Supreme Court. So what you're asking this council for is a legal definition.
Okay, so I want to read this. This is, and just so you're aware, I had a conversation with the state's attorney because I'm concerned about what's going on in the city of Wall. And how the citizens of Wall are being handled in regards to what's going on. And this is, when I talked to the state's attorney, she told me that because there is legal proceedings going on, she really couldn't talk to me about much. What she did encourage me to do was read South Dakota codified law on conflict of interest. And she also encouraged to seek legal counsel. And I don't know what's going on that I would be encouraged to seek legal counsel.
Who is Lee? Who is the Attorney General?
The state's attorney gal I talked to, I don't have her name here with me. But I
She's
do have it.
actually gonna become the Pennington County State's
I
Attorney.
told a gal out of here,
Oh, I see, okay.
so
Okay, so
But-
did you talk to the AG's office or the state's attorney's office?
the state's attorney's office is where I
So
called.
the Hughes County State's Attorney?
I don't know, I just called here, whatever the number
There-
is up
Okay,
there.
there's an AG or a state's attorney here.
I don't know.
Well, if we're talking about legality here, I'd like some precision, and I want to know who you talked to.
I would say that's a conversation between me and her, Stephanie.
Well, if you're gonna cite that you referenced the state's
I'm
attorney,
just saying that
You
I
need to
called
know-
and had a conversation with her about what was going on. She told me she basically couldn't give me any information. She encouraged me to read South Dakota codified law, which I did, and I read it again and again and again, because I'm trying to pick up what are we getting at? And this is what I've got to read. It says, no county, municipal, or school official may participate in discussing or vote on any issue in which the official has a conflict of interest. Each official shall decide if any potential conflict of interest requires such official to be disqualified from participating in discussion or voting. However, no such official may participate in discussing or vote on an issue if the following circumstances apply. The official has a direct pecuniary, if I said that wrong, interest in the matter before the governing body, or at least 2/3 of the governing body votes that an official has an identifiable conflict of interest that should prohibit such official from voting on a specific matter. If an official with a direct pecuniary, said that wrong, interest participates in discussion or votes on a matter before the governing body, the legal sole remedy is to invalidate that official's vote. And when I read that, my question to the state's attorney was, who represents the people when there's an issue? And she says, you have to seek legal counsel for that, which I find extremely discouraging. That is the only avenue that there is for the citizens of Wall. I'm the only one that gets up here and speaks in a which I'm sure is considered a hostile format. But if you only knew how many people in town are concerned about what is going on, but they are afraid to come up here and speak, either because of who they work for, who they rent from, or whatever the story is. It's sad, guys. And the fact that you won't answer a simple question.
Well, Lee, you have definition right there and you read it to us.
But I want to know what your opinion is on it, because I'm trying to understand where the decisions come from.
I don't think you're ever gonna understand where the decision can come from. You've been here, how many meetings have you been here and talked to us? 10, 15?
No,
I haven't talked at that many meetings, Rick. If I've talked at a half a
Maybe it
dozen.
just seems like that.
Well, I'm sorry that when somebody gets up here and it doesn't go with what you think or the way it should go, that's an issue for you.
Not an issue.
No, it is. You're making it an issue. You're hollering at me.
No, I'm not.
So, you know, it's not everybody is on board with what's going on. And I'm sorry that I get to be the voice that comes up here and say something. And I just hope that when it's time to vote, people make the changes that need to be made. That's what I hope, because to me, that's the only resolution to decisions that are being made is the ballot box. And I just hope that the people that vote can vote their conscience and not have it held against them.
Lee, this is
Yes,
Kelly.
Kelly. Yes.
I want to address this. You asked how we make our decisions. I make a decision and you're speaking, I think, specifically about Loves. I make a decision if it's
not
going,
specific. No, sorry to interrupt, Kelly.
that's
There
fine.
have been current issues where there has been a direct conflict of interest between people that sit on this council and decisions that were made, and they still sat on the council and made those decisions. And I'm not gonna point names, but there have been in the last couple of, I know you can shake your head, but in the last couple of meetings.
I'm trying to think, Lee. I'm trying to think of what you're talking about.
I'm not gonna sit up here and direct fingers, but there have been votes that have been made in this forum that have been a direct conflict of interest. Sit back and watch a meeting and you'll know.
I'm in the meeting, Lee. You're chewing my head off and I haven't said anything yet.
All right, I'm done. I'll listen to you, Kelly.
When I make a decision, I do as much research as I can, and I'm going to use Loves specifically because it's going to affect families every day. I think that's one of the big reasons why I am against this. Not because it's going to be conflicting with other businesses, because it's going to affect people's lives, their home life. That
Okay.
was my big reason why I voted as I did.
Hey, can I interject for a quick second? So
Well, you can-
we're not.
What?
So we don't allow Loves out there, but the city council approves a pot dispensary and a campground to go out there, which I'm pro-capitalism. If the area allows it, great. but we're gonna allow a pot dispensary to go out on the corner out there,
Well,
and we're.
we didn't have,
gonna-
we had no right, we had to allow a dispensary. That was the state's law.
I know, but it's okay to put a pot dispensary out there. You're gonna let a pot dispensary go out on the corner of these folks' home. And you're gonna tentatively allow a campground, which is gonna have lights, campfires, trucks coming in and out. We don't know who the people are. Drinking, partying, having fun. I mean, so where do we draw the line on what's acceptable and what's not for the community?
I will say one thing about that, Lee. There has not been one single person come in and voice a complaint or anything against the pot store.
I know, it blows my mind.
But I mean, the people out there aren't worried about it evidently.
But do they, I guess, do they, and I'm just saying, do they know? Because let's face it, how many
Yes.
folks are here at the meetings? And I know there's a lot of folks that watch them online, but how many people truly know there's a pot dispensary going on the corner to their house?
Well, I would think.
And my concern wouldn't be the legal marijuana, it's when the state legalizes recreational marijuana.
That's my concern too.
That would be a huge concern.
Well,
for me if I was
in
out there.
the last vote, that went down pretty heavily against recreational marijuana.
I'm just saying, as society continues to decline, it's coming. But I'm just saying, so pot dispensary is okay, a campground is okay.
Well,
And we're using the logic that we don't want all these people out there that we don't know on the drugs. and
Okay,
the-
Lee, one more thing about this. I don't know if you've been up to Love's at night with all their lights on. Have you?
I guarantee I travel more than anybody in this room. Yes, ma'am, I have been.
Okay. Fine. Wonderful that you travel all over. But I went up there one night, 7 o'clock at night, and that area was like an airport. There was lights on everywhere. Okay, I'm going to use a little example. We are on Glen Street. Joe has America's Best Value and he has an electric sign. And that sign is, I don't know, 3 feet by 5 feet, 4 by 5 feet. It's not very big. Every night he turns that on, it shines directly into our living room every night. Okay, this is a small sign. What is it gonna do to all of those families out there that have these floodlights and the semis? How are they gonna block that out? That's a big concern. A little sign as opposed to these huge lamps that they put out. That's totally different than a campground. If you go to Sleepy Hollow at night, they are very quiet. There are not big spotlights.
And I'm not saying don't put it out there. I'm all for it. That if they can get the ground bought and build it. But I mean.
But I'm telling you, I'm giving you the reason why I don't think Love's is gonna be good out there. And you're not listening. You don't want to hear what I'm saying.
You know, the crazy thing is, Kelly, that land was for sale out there when Love's bought it. Anybody else could have bought it, so nobody.
Oh, exactly.
I mean.
But
Jack
if
Lane's-
but if you also look at our comprehensive plan that we spent a lot of money on and everybody thinks it's wonderful, it says we as a town need to look at the health, safety and welfare of the people in the town. That's what I'm doing for the people out there.
And Lowe's is.
Health,
also just
safety and welfare.
Okay, well, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. And I agree with you, conflict of interest is very hard to understand. It was that particular law that you read was mentioned, I think, 6 times in the last document that the judge issued. So it is a big deal. And it's very, when you read that law and and how it applies here, it is very difficult to understand how that works. And I certainly have sat on that side of the table as well as this one, and it's difficult. So, okay, so moving on then, do we have anyone that would like to make public comments tonight on item number 12? They would have a 3-minute time frame to do that. Okay. Seeing none, that brings us to a building permit from Dahl's Chainsaw Art. And the building permit is for it's indicated as a small temporary building built on skids that would be used as a gift shop. And then I believe this is the picture of that gift shop. Is that correct?
I was looking at the bill.
And it's very nice. But did you look at this, Garrett? Or-
Yep, I went and talked to him. The only thing I was kind of concerned with is the position of it.
Because on their map on the back, it shows it's kind of on the corner or by the driveway.
Yep.
Okay,
Well, they just want people to be able to come in on would be the west side and park, go through the gift shop and then go to the north to the Jackalope.
Is it gonna lessen the visibility of the stop sign?
Well, that's where it's positioned now. I don't think so. It's far enough back. But the 11 feet on the south side is what I was kind of concerned about. On this end here, because they meant let it match with the south end of the motel.
Is it
Oh.
right next to the sidewalk? Or pretty close?
Pretty close.
no, see where the end of
It'd be
the,
about 4 or 5 feet. I think we measured it out. When they were over there, and I said, you can ask for variance.
What's normal? What is
25,
25?
but like you say, the motel
right?
is 11 feet, so they're
Yeah.
matching that.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Garrett, is that 25 feet on the west side enough for parking from the street into the front of their building? That, I mean, that's only gonna allow for 3 or 4 cars, is it?
Yeah.
I just,
They didn't think they're gonna have a whole bunch of people, you know what I mean, just have a few and then utilize the parking across the street in front of the powerhouse.
Did they indicate any plans for the rest of it? all?
They had talked about, so on the west side, or sorry, the north side by the Red Rock, they talked about tearing that portion of it down and leaving the back wall as like a fence, kind of, you know, to keep it enclosed, and then, because it's all brick, and so they leave in between the rooms in, and they kind of like make, so it look like Badlands Buttes. So it'd be like a backdrop, kind of fence and a backdrop is what they wanted to do over on that side, and then they talked about leaving this east side, and, you know, doing some work to it.
Garrett, would even 15 or 20 feet on that side be better?
Yeah, I think it'd give a little more room, you know, on the edge of where that grass is.
You don't want to run it into the jackalope.
No.
How
It
far
always
is that?
scooted over. We measured it all out. You know, you don't scoot another 4 foot or so. But it's set back far enough, I don't think it'll interfere with that stop sign.
But could you talk to them about maybe moving another 4 feet? I mean,
Yeah.
I just
I mean,
think,
they're pretty open, they just saw that, you know, the motel was 11 feet there, but
the only thing that,
it's back farther.
yeah,
away
yeah,
from
it's
the
not near the intersection.
Yep.
So are they talking about then just leaving it there, or being that it's on skids and stuff where
They
move it
kind
out
of thought
season?
about maybe, pulling it back for the winter time, you know, taking it back towards the east side to tuck it in there.
Hmm.
So it'd be gone in the winter, not gone, but you know, kind of out of the sight over there.
Okay,
That-
is that gonna cause more issue with that stop sign being run than, sorry, them looking at the jackal Well,
I don't know, maybe when they look up, they'll see it. I don't know.
I think we'd be better off to take the stop sign out.
Oh, we talked about that
Well, before somebody gets
long
killed.
time ago. Yeah, they talked about taking the stop sign out there and then just making it a two-way stop, you know? But they were afraid that these
Well, we
people
had
are gonna
school-
forget that it's not a four-way anymore and then,
I still can't get used to the boulevard down here on the end of Main Street, so. But I
Okay.
think it was a four-way stop all the time because the school was right there too, wasn't it?
Right.
well, it was, even when the. What was? I think the school was still there when they. Did that, they got all the signage and everything to take it out. And they never did, it was like when I first started.
They just go 80 down that street instead of 60.
Yeah, sure.
Stop sign, but
Okay, so do we have any, would we have a motion to approve?
I'd make a motion to approve if they'll go with 15 feet on the south. And that's not much, but I think it'll help with the visibility in that very busy intersection.
And then they can set it there too and look and, I mean. Gonna be easy to move. So if it needs to go back for, I'm sure they're willing to work and. They're good guys.
And then the jack looks really tall,
Yeah.
so they'd still be able to see it.
So your motion is that it will have to be 15 feet. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Mary, I think that would be better. It's kind of a tricky intersection.
Okay, do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the dull chainsaw art building permit with the condition that it be 15 feet from the curb as opposed to 11 feet as the diagram shows. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
All right,
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, that brings us then to the approval of the Echo Valley plat. So, yes, Dana, would you explain why we have this plat in front of us?
Yeah, sure. And that's the second page of the KLJ handout I have in front of you. And what that is, it's the remaining lots of this first phase of Echo and really part of the requirement for the South Dakota housing application that there's putting all the work into applying for, and one of the requirements goes with lots rather than just large parcels. So we have 14 new ones, and those are kind of based on the master plan that we did over a year ago too. So all have water service to them, and the cul-de-sac on the north and the lots 1, 2, 3 on the north, those will have gravity sewer to them. Any questions on that?
So once we improve this, if we approve this, then what are the next steps that happens with this?
Next steps are, we will then get the Mylar to the Echo Valley Development Group, Grady, and he'll sign that as the owner. Then we'll get it to Carolyn, and the city will sign it. I think there's a spot for Garrett to sign as the road authority. So and then get it to the county for approval and recording, and then we're good.
Okay. You had a question, Rick?
Dana, just a comment. I'm pleased that lots 1, 2, and 3 are so big. I mean, they're really decent sized. I thought they might end up being a little small, but
Yeah, those are pretty decent size where. You know, the thought is, well, if somebody wants to do. Or a twin home, with homes are really connected side by side, and they could do that, they're pretty easy, or those are even big enough where you can do a smaller type. single family home, you know, maybe that's a governor's home, whatever that may be. So, and this really, it kind of checks the boxes of workforce type housing lots, so that checks the box of those.
I see two lot twos. Why am I seeing two lot twos? The great big one in front of the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then up further north, there's another lot two. Is that
Different blocks, I think.
different
Yeah.
lots? Okay, I see that.
I think you're seeing block 4 that have already been platted and ready to go. And then we're bringing on block 5. Additional 1 through 9.
Okay, I see the 5 up there in the corner already.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the Echo Valley plat?
So move.
Okay, Dan has moved.
Second.
Mike has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all you need for me tonight, Mayor?
Yes,
Thank
excellent.
you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Dana.
Good night. Have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
Okay, item 15 is retail on off sale wine for Omni. Would like to talk about that,
This is a
Carolyn?
New liquor license for them. And with their pizza business that they are putting in over there, they wanted other options besides these on-off sale malt beverage with South Dakota Farm wine that they already have. They want to be offer other types of wine and not restricted to just the South Dakotas. So
Okay,
I put the publication in the paper as required since it's a new license. And now it's up in front of council for approval.
okay.
And this is just wine.
Wine and cider, it's called. I'm not really sure what cider does, but I see most people just using wine for it. But that's fall under cider.
Getting too fancy for me. Beer's beer.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the retail on off sale wine for Omni? Okay, Dan's moved. Is there a second? Kelly has seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Sorry, get ahead of you. Apologize for that. Okay, so it has been approved then to offer the retail on off sale wine permit. Okay. Item 16 is approving the Bloom lease. Carolyn, you'll have to visit with us about that.
So this is a lease that's east and of that. Explain where it's located.
It's south of the exit 116.
Okay.
And our sewer lagoons and to the east of that.
And it's kind of a lease that only Bloom can probably utilize just for the fact that for fencing it off purposes, because he has ground abutting it, so
Okay,
Is he still wanting that?
they did last year. I mean, I would ask for approval. I would send the agreement to them along with the invoice, and if they deny it, then they deny it.
But really, they're the only ones that could utilize the land because they have land next to it. Cool.
is there any other access to that?
They sold all their cattle.
Is there any other way to access that, Garrett?
That old, what is it, the lower Bigfoot Road or Old Big- or Quinn Road? It's Quinn Road. Yeah, goes through there. Yeah, I don't know how.
You're
else.
south of interstate?
Mhm. Yeah, right along that Whitewater Creek. that runs through there. We have sewer lagoons down there. to the-
And those, that 600 acres or 720 is fenced off,
Yes,
okay?
Is the old Quinn Road, that's not passable, is it?
Well,
four-wheel drive, yeah.
Four-wheel drive.
sometimes.
So actually what you're asking for is approval to
To,
offer this lease to Blooms.
right. They may deny it, I don't know. I usually don't reach out to them first because I usually send them the lease that's been signed by the mayor and then give them 2 copies. They sign one and send back along with the money, with the invoice that I submit to. They may deny it, but
Okay, I just was curious. I'd seen a cell bill at Helen.
You need a motion on that,
yeah,
or make that motion.
Okay, Mike has moved
Second,
and Jerry has seconded to offer the lease to Blooms once again. And Carolyn will move forward with that. So any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 17, industrial park hay bid. It is a notice that will go in the paper is what she has in the packet.
yep, I will submit it to the paper tomorrow based on your approval of wanting to put it out for bid. And we'll ask for bids to be submitted back to us by the April 6th meeting or to be awarded.
And this is a bit earlier than we usually have done, and the reason for that is we were asked after we let the bid last year if we or they, the award winner, could spray, and we were actually too late. So we're trying to get a little bit ahead of that, so that if whoever does get this bid would choose to spray for weeds, which would cause more alfalfa or hay to be available, then they would have the opportunity to do that. So that's the reason we're a few weeks ahead of where we usually are on this. So with that being said, do I have a motion then to advertise the hay bid for the industrial park? And in the contract, it specifically says too that they have to work around the phase 1 and make sure that they don't take out any of the stakes or structures or apparatus that has to do with that phase 1.
this is pretty much the same as last year's.
It is, except sooner.
So move.
Okay, Rick has moved.
Second.
Kelly has seconded. Is there any further discussion, questions, or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so then that brings us to the hay bid for the airport. Carolyn, you have some comments on that?
So it's the airport and the Morningside property that's always kind of gone together. And I just kind of had a question with the construction going on out at the airport, if that was even going to be an option this year. I did reach out to the contractor who is going to be doing the airport construction. And he said, you know, if the council wanted to approve that, they would work around, you know, any equipment that was out there or whatever. I did reach out to then Preston to get his opinion of it. And his comments were that, you know, if we would have a wet summer, the wet areas may be a concern to have to get around to get to the other areas that can hay along with the equipment. But he also had concern that if he didn't hay it, that the growth for not, because of not being hayed, could catch snow to cause drifting issues. And whether that would be looked at that, you know, you could just have somebody in the fall go in there and take care of that for that reason. And that was just his comment, and I didn't know, I just thought maybe have some discussion on this to see what you want to do. Stan called and he had a question on it, and he knew he wasn't gonna be in attendance. He said he would be fine with not putting it out for bid this year because of these reasons, and we really usually never get a whole lot of money on it. But just wanted to give his opinion to you guys on that.
So we'll just take the airport out, and still do the morning side.
Possibly, yeah, I guess, do they get much on the morning side, is that what's very much?
Not a lot anymore. I'm
No.
developed all that.
That the first part's, you know, by the trap range is probably the best, the rest isn't really good. It's just wheatgrass, or crested wheatgrass or whatever it is. Doesn't grow real thick, but I don't think, you know, really, I don't think it'll affect it too much. I mean, they still stay quite a ways away from the runway already. You know, and some of the best alfalfa's in that corner over there where they won't even be working. And then every year the water's kind of an issue too. There's lots of times at that corner by the interstate, the intersection of Fourth and never even gets cut, but it's not that good. The grass anyways too, so. Yeah, I don't think it would hurt to. And it sounds like they are willing to work. You know, with them, and I'm sure whoever cuts the hay would be willing to stay out of the way too, and I talked to the contractor. And they wanted to haul stuff a certain way, and I was like, well, that's kind of where the best hay is, if we could work something else out and go around, and they didn't have a problem with it either, so I
I didn't know, you know, based on the discussion, if I should consider putting some verbiage in the ad that, you know, to realize we will have construction going on
May have to
as a
deal with it.
consideration, you know, I didn't know what your thoughts were.
Might not be a bad idea.
I'm not doing discussion in fear of conflict of interest, so I will be abstaining from any vote.
Would you suggest so?
I said, and they could get a hold of me and then we could set up a meeting.
Well, I think if Carolyn makes those changes, maybe put it out for bid, but forewarn the potential bidders that there may be some issues with construction.
Because you almost need both those pieces to make it even beginning to be worthwhile. You can't just do one or the other. And the other thought of us having to go in the fall to cut it down for fear of snow, that just puts another job, you know, and we're kind of short on mowers anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so if someone would bid this and do this for us and be respectful of the construction, which I'm pretty sure they will be, then perhaps we're okay. Just the verbiage has got to be added though, Carolyn, would that be correct? So would I have a motion then to approve the airport Morningside hay bid?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Rick has moved
Second.
and Mike has seconded. Any further discussion or comments? You're going to abstain?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other thoughts? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us then to item 19, Carolyn, the 2022 annual report.
You have it in your packet. Copy, and you did not, but, bring it up here, sorry. Give me a second. So this basically gives you like what our beginning fund balance was in the general fund up at the top, which is the 3,258,676. The other funds consist of BBB money, the fire department, the library, and the cemetery is all in that category. So the total starting out was total government funds was 3,844,931. You just go down the line and it gives you all of our revenue sources for that. Gives you like our sales tax was 1,563,000 roughly, leaving off the cents there. On down to the grant money that we received on down the line, and then it shows you the expenses that we had. So looking at the revenue of all the general fund versus the expenses, we did come out a little better in the revenue. Our total revenue was $2,902,081, where our total expenses were $2,822,000. Then it just divides out what is non-spendable, what is committed, assigned and unassigned down at the bottom category. The water, sewer, and solid waste, which is our enterprise funds. It does not itemize those things out like it does in the general fund. And this worksheet is given to me by the legislative audit, so I just put my numbers in, and I can't really explain to you why they don't care to have all of the revenue and expenses split out like they do the general fund. And then it also divides out what is restricted and used for other purposes and what is unrestricted at the very bottom. And clear down there, I just add a column just for your own information, and I have them in the colored areas of what we are this year versus what we were last year. And the reason for more money in the checking account this year versus last year is really kind of a timing issue as far as when the checks come through to bring that balance down versus it did in 2021, where we only had the 16,000 in the checking account. So, but we were higher in the money market, you can see. So that just explains all of the bank accounts for the money market, and the CDs are all broke out down there for you. And that's kind of where we are. This gets published in the paper upon approval from you guys tonight. And if you have any questions, I would be glad to try and answer them for you.
Any questions? And it will be published in the paper, so.
You need a motion?
I do need a motion to approve it.
Carolyn, did you feel we ended up in quite a bit better cash situation than we might have expected?
With the way our budget was, yes. Yes. We did have a pretty high budget, but we just ended up not spending everything that we budgeted because either we didn't do the project or it got kind of moved into the next year.
Well, I think that worked out well, and for the city to be in a stronger cash position, that's gotta be good.
And some of those projects, so then that we didn't complete are being completed now. So they're gonna be coming out of this year's revenue and expenses. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
All right. Jerry, did you make a motion to?
I'll make a motion to put it in the paper.
Okay, it's been, motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Mike has seconded. Any other questions or comments or concerns?
Do you get calls when you put this in the paper, when people get a chance to look at it?
I never have them.
I do know that this represents hours of work that you have managed to get done amongst all the other load that you have carried over the last few months, and I want to express our appreciation for Because this was probably a deadline factor too, right?
Well, they actually did make a change that it used to have to be reported to the council by the first meeting in March, which we're on our second meeting, but there was legislation that got changed, so I don't have to actually present it to you till the first meeting in May, but I like to stay with that March time frame just to get it off my plate.
Awesome. Okay,
Good.
good job.
I do
Okay.
have just a stupid question, I guess. I see the fines and stuff is at 0. We don't get anything for any speeding tickets or anything in our community. It all goes to the county or
So where are you at? on
It
those
just-
fines?
clear down on below the ambulance cemetery, other fines and forfeitures, court fines. Just wondered, because curious how.
But yeah, no, we don't. Oh, I see it, what you're talking about. Yeah, we do not. We would have to have somebody possibly Steph that would be willing to go and up and appear in court if we had to for that reason. If somebody was to try and contest it or whatever.
I just thought a share of any speeding fine or stop sign fine, and none of it in our community goes to us.
School gets some of it.
I was gonna say, I thought the school district got some.
Randy brought a sheet in that one meeting and showed where if there was a fine, like $130 speeding ticket, it showed where it all went to.
This ready too.
Our name wasn't on that list.
No. Okay. So we haven't voted on this, right? We have our motion and it's been seconded.
Right, and then there was discussion. so.
Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Carolyn. Okay, attorney report. Do you have anything to report, Karen?
Not a lot. It's been pretty quiet for March. I did want to confirm to any member of the board who didn't officially get the notice that the city has graciously agreed to cover ambulance service legal counsel at least until it gets back on its feet. So I have spent some time on revisions to the bylaws and the annual meeting this week. But other than that, not a lot going on for the city. The mayor did call me with, about my billing. And, I thought it was a good time to broach the subject that, as everyone on this board knows, I charge $100 an hour. And everyone would know that because I haven't raised my rate one time in the 7 years I've represented the city of Wall. And the going rate is at least twice what I charge. It goes up to $350. But I'm proud of the rate that I charge the city. And a big part of why I keep my rate as low as I do is because I value the city and I'm proud to represent the city. And I think my rate is beyond defensible. I did think that I also, from day one, have discounted my mileage rate from the $1 a mile that I charge all my other municipalities to 75 cents a mile, which includes my time, my vehicle, and fuel. And I think given inflation and everything, I am going to request and I will draft an amendment to my contract, but just to bring that rate up to the same mileage rate as I charge all my other cities, which would be $1 a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wanted to give you a heads up. I will draft an amendment for approval and submit it. Any questions? Thank you.
Stephanie, I do want to thank you for itemizing the ambulance as I requested. I think that that's gonna be important pieces of information as a group moves forward. It's valuable, and I appreciated when you updated or revised the other one. What you added there was also nicely itemized, and I appreciate that. So thank you for doing that. Okay, that brings us then to the mayor's report. Okay, so we are very close to getting over the finish line for our South Dakota housing loan. And so what I am needing this evening, because our closing date is set for March 31st, I do have a loan agreement to be approved so that I can move forward and sign that. A promissory note with the amount of the loan, the assignment of construction contract, and the assignment of project documents. So these, with your approval, I will sign and submit. And along with those documents, the other ones that they requested and that I have fulfilled is, first of all, a letter of firm commitment from the city of Wall, a letter of firm commitment from Echo Valley that's been signed by all three owners, a letter that indicates the marketing designation as far as affordable homes that the marketing agent for Echo Valley is doing, the vendor document that shows what we've paid. The city of Wall have already spent on Echo Valley, which will go toward that part of the loan that we are responsible for. The resolution 2302 that you folks approved as far as proceeding with this document, a signed amortization schedule that's been signed already by Chaz Olson and myself, as well as the construction contract from the construction company, declaration of land use restrictive covenants, the notice to proceed, the certificate of liability from the construction company, the payment bond from the company, and the performance bond. And all of these items, KLJ have been very instrumental in working with us in getting these completed. And so we started way last spring, went first for a grant, then a loan, back to a grant, and now back to this loan. So we're close. And you may have heard with that they just approved in the rules to be put out for the grants that they approved the money for last year. So they are still a long ways out as far as getting those grant monies out. So by us moving forward here, we've got the opportunity to actually get our construction started and paid for. Along with these documents being approved, and I think we can do this in one motion. I also, the remaining amount that we need for the closing fee is an approval for $10,269.35 because we'd already in October of last year sent them $2,125. So if there's any questions or comments on these, I am asking for a motion to approve.
I want to commend Mayor Williams and Carolyn Anderson and how diligent and persistent they've been in pursuing this very necessary funding for Echo Valley. And boy, it wasn't easy. But great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, do I have a motion then to approve the loan agreement, promissory note, assignment of construction contract, assignment of project documents?
So move.
Okay, Dan is moved.
Second.
Rick has seconded. Any other question, concerns or comments? Okay, with that being said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now I need approval for the $10,269.35. The closing date, by the way, is going to be March 31st. They had talked about using April 1, but I said after all this work, I was not okay with April Fool's Day. So they moved it back to a March 31st for us. So these documents will all be scanned, followed with mailed, certified letter mailed to them, and then the plat piece that KLJ Dana was talking about tonight, that's gonna be hand walked, and that's the very last piece. But we indicated when Carolyn and I had a conference with Beverly Cutts last, whatever day that was, I'm confused, but just very recently, we want to get these documents to them so they can look those over and get the A-OK there, and then we'll just follow up with that last piece. So that's our game plan, and we're sticking with it. So with that, may I have a motion to approve $10,269.35?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Kelly, thank you for moving, and Mike seconded, is that right? Any other questions, concerns, comments?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes,
I'm just curious, with all the grants that are in motion with the city, is there a checks and balance with the city where, I don't know if it would be Caroline, that they follow up and make sure all the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted, so they don't come back after us for that grant money?
well, this isn't grant, this is
No, I'm
loan,
just asking in
Okay.
general. I'm just,
but, and do we have, what grants would we have out there right now, Carolyn?
We don't have any grants out. there.
okay, I was just curious in general, and the only reason I asked is I've got a friend who is involved with a city in another town, and they just got dinged on I think it was $180,000 they have to pay back because they didn't cross all the Ts and dot all the Is, and I'm just wondering, do we as a city have a checks and balance in place to make sure that when we get the grant money that we're actually abiding by all the rules of the grant? Does that make sense?
Yes, and along those same lines, what we agreed to do is make yearly payments on this instead of making monthly, like they have some of the other loans that we've carried. So that'll be a one-time loan. So our loan payments. Okay,
And
but
maybe
the
what you're,
point well taken though.
we did sort of have like a grant from the county, for our industrial park project, and they, went over what we needed to
Okay.
do on that, and that's all been taken care of.
Yeah, it was just a general question when it comes
Yeah,
to
to
grants.
pay attention. Yeah,
Just
for sure.
Seeing what they had to do.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Now, did we vote on that yet? or not?
Yes. and-
We're all done
Yep,
with this.
we're done.
Okay, hallelujah, happy dance. Wow. Okay, green beer for sure. Hmm. Anyway, it's coming up on that day. Okay, finance officer report, please.
So the finance committee had made a recommendation asked for me to check in on moving some of our money market money into a 14-month CD special that was being offered by the First Interstate Bank. We had done that with the Black Hills Credit Union for putting funds and earmarking for this loan. And so we checked there, and we were able to move $1 million into a 14-month CD at the First Interstate Bank. So I do need to have final motion for that so that it shows up when that money gets transferred. The auditors are wondering where that money went to without final approval.
One thing I'd like to point out, because of our strong financial situation, and even with a $500,000 reserve for this loan, we were able to put $1 million aside, and what's the interest rate on it?
4%.
4%. So, you know, the city is in solid financial shape, and if I'd known we were gonna be at this point a year ago, I'd slept a lot better last year. So I mean, I think the mayor and council is to be, and Carolyn to be congratulated on our position.
Okay, so do I have a motion then to approve the moving of the dollars into the 14-month CD? Well,
Carolyn, has that been moved yet? Have you committed to that yet? That 4% with them?
Yes, I believe it happened today.
I understand that they're having a higher rate, so you might want to try to negotiate a little bit higher rate.
Okay.
Just saying, if it hasn't been moved yet, you might want to.
Yeah, I know they kind of had to pull some strings with this because like you guys had needed new money and we didn't have any money to put in there. So, well, I was thinking that was one of the things you said that we had to put new money.
But I still think they're offering more than 4, so, and we're not. I'm just saying, if it hasn't been committed, you might want to confirm with them, because a rumor on the street is they're offering like 4.25 or 4.5 or something, so.
Okay, maybe I misspoke. It might be 4.25. I worked with this and then I kind of got it out of my head.
okay,
So I will, Mandy, thank you.
okay. So do I have a motion to move those dollars to a 14-month CD?
So move, I think, boy, it sure wouldn't hurt to check, make sure we're getting the top rate. I know the banking financial situation is.
Oh, that paperwork's over there, actually.
Is it
You guys
right
have
here?
to sign, yeah. So it might have been 14.25 or 4.25.
Oh, 4%.
Just for.
Okay, so we'll check that. Do you want to hand that? Because I signed that and Rick has a habit of walking off with paper, so I make sure we get that to the right place.
I don't know if that's totally true.
We've got stuff get mixed up here between you.
Well,
Okay, so, all right, now, where are we at? We
Rick
moved
made
it
the
second.
motion, I don't have a second.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded and moved the dollars. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right,
Then I just was going to update you, today at 4 o'clock was the deadline for people to get their paperwork into me for the equalization meeting. And I actually have 12 individual people that submitted paperwork. A couple of them have 2 properties that need to be addressed when they have their meeting, but with that, what time frame would you like to start the equalization meetings on Monday? Considering we have 12 properties.
I can't make it.
You can't make it
What day was that?
Monday.
20.
Are you serious?
no. Okay, is it doable to do 12 in one night?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so we'd
yeah.
only one night, is
We
that right?
schedule about 10 minutes.
Okay. So the question is what time to start? Mike, 5:30 works better for you, right?
Well, if we can be out of here by 6, well, no, I got another meeting, but I
Oh.
can probably.
Do we need to do that a different night?
We have to start it. I mean, I have to start it on Monday night, I guess, if I don't have a quorum.
Okay, do all of us have to be here?
I have to have a quorum,
of the council.
council.
So that kind of, Kelly, are you gonna be in the wall on Monday?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that means us, the 4 of you,
And I know Stan. won't.
Guess I'll be there.
You'll be here.
and it takes 4 for a quorum, so everybody's gotta be here.
Can I,
Mike, could you start?
can I be on Zoom?
You can, yeah.
Oh,
Well, then I can do that, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that, Kelly. Thank you.
But, well, we can practically knock that out in 2.5 hours.
Oh. So if she was available earlier, would you be available?
I can go anytime.
Are you
Anytime,
available?
anytime.
You tell me when I gotta be there.
5 AM.
I'll be there.
Usually up anyway.
Yeah, because the meeting's I have the meeting at 6.
Okay. So do we start earlier? To
4
try
o'clock?
to accommodate you for like 4 o'clock? And then you leave when you need to leave, because we'd have Kelly.
I can, when will you have the first one? Because I don't get off until 4, so I could be here at like 5 after 4.
we can do 4:15.
Geez, don't you know the boss?
Okay. 4:15 on Monday for the equalization meeting.
Is that gonna help you out at all, Lee, Mandy?
4:15, I don't.
I'll be here.
You will be here.
Yeah, whenever works.
Well, I'll put you at 4:15 since you're here and you're gonna be able to respond if 4:15 works.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, you're making note there. Travis Lassiter reached out to me today and said that he kind of forgot about us. And that Shannon Rittenberger, who is equalization director, Cindy Muller auditor, had been actually going around to the different communities and visiting and setting up a meeting like here and letting people come in, and they do a little 1 hour conversation about assessments and valuations. And I said, well, we're starting next week. So if anybody had a question about why their evaluation went up, it's almost late. But he said they would still be willing to come another time if we wanted to, so that we could advertise it, let people know if they wanted to have a conversation with them, that they'd be available. Is that something we would want to try to work out and schedule later in the month or in April or a year from now, or what? Is that, are we interested? I said,
Well, I think we'd be more interested possibly next year, because this
already
is,
done
it's
now.
kind of done. And it's after the fact, and after the equalization meetings, the interest really falls off.
Okay, so we'll just tell them that we want to be first on their calendar when they start this next year.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, and that could come in really handy.
Okay. Do you have a particular time in mind? Like, when do we receive those notices so that that's when everybody's hair goes on fire?
Don't you want it a month before those notices come out?
Probably.
Well, I don't know if that would make sense though, because people haven't gotten their paperwork and they won't remember the percentages and all that information that they share unless they actually have their paperwork to bring and
Good
kind of wrap
point.
their head around them, I think.
Okay,
The only reason I'm saying that is, so Katie said that New England would have theirs last
yes,
night.
they did.
And she attended and she said it was pretty informative, she felt, and so.
Well, and then right before the meeting, the interest is really high. And with the way property values have gone, there's certainly the potential of having a lot of interest next year.
Okay, so shall we say we want to do it next year, 1 week after they send those out, so they know when they send them out? So we'll schedule, okay?
That'd be
All right,
awesome.
that's what I'll do. Okay, and I didn't mean to go by your 2021 audit update.
That's
Carol.
fine. So I know it seems like I'm kind of behind on this, and we are, but due to our auditor was very sick, and so we kind of got behind on things, but They did send a preliminary, which I included in your packet, and also that letter, which you guys are supposed to be reviewed as the governing body. So hopefully you've had time to review that and don't have any questions, and once I have reviewed this preliminary, which you guys are more than welcome to review it and give me any input that you have questions on, but I would say within a week, I'm going to respond to them and tell them that I need changes or that I'm good with how it looks, and then they will schedule a time to present it to you guys. So just to share that information with you, that we're really close in getting 2021 wrapped up.
So we need to review this.
And that letter is, I was just reading, that's basically the same one we get every year, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay. They'll review it, get any questions, comments to you, and then you will let them know that we're ready to have them come talk about it. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
so this next week, I will be focusing on the equalization meetings, getting my minutes drawn up for that. So I would say by the 27th, is that a Monday?
Yes.
Give myself that as well, so
Okay,
I'll send a reminder out to you guys, like prior to the weekend, so you'd have the weekend to check it, that I'll need any changes by the 27th.
okay. Sounds good. Anything else, Karen?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, Garrett, Public
Hi.
Works.
Talked to John Madsen the other day with Jenner, and we still don't know when we're gonna get lawnmowers. The representative's gonna be there in March, I think they have an open house. First part of March, he's gonna talk to them and said if we can't come up with something, we're gonna have to find somewhere else. So. He said for me to come up and find some of the biggest guys I know. I think it represented a little bit, you know what I'm like. I don't think that'll work, but other than that, just. Still dealing with snow and on and off. Now it's really muddy everywhere. Water seems to be flowing through town good, I don't know. Slowing up there. So yeah, I don't have anything else.
Okay,
Pump in the basement runs about every 15 minutes.
Does it really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, ours hasn't started yet, so.
and we want to tell you and your crew, thank you. Congressman Johnson and USDA Undersecretary is going to be at the Wall Meat Locker tomorrow to talk about the $3 million grant they got, and then they will be here for an official press release, our media event. And when I mentioned that to Garrett, he got right on getting the street cleaned up and will provide reserved parking for that group. So this is going to be a very busy building tomorrow because I know the chamber has a meeting at noon, and this event will be at 11 o'clock. There should be 30 or 40 folks with that group, and the quilters are in town starting at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So lots of good things going on here in Wall. Okay, with that, is there any items for discussion? No action will be taken. Anything that anybody else needs to bring up? Kelly, do you have any comments?
No,
Okay,
We had our fire department meeting last night and the tender should be here next week.
Oh,
Oh.
wow. How many
The other-
gallons?
Oh,
3,200?
I think that's what it was.
Okay.
I don't remember for sure, but. And then the other truck we got from the federal government, we sent down
yeah,
to get worked on, and then it's just about done too. So
cool.
we ready, we have any fires, hopefully we don't have any.
No,
I had a semi truck fire 3:30 this morning.
I saw that. Okay,
Do you have a full crew at the fire department?
Oh, it's full crew.
You should have got on the ambulance board, so you
No,
could
thank
have
you.
moved some of them volunteers to them.
Busy enough. Now, we have 22 on the roster and probably 6 show up regularly. So, yeah, it's kind of a bad deal too sometimes. 2 of us go out of town, that only leaves 2 or 3 people.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, Garrett. Okay, so as we've indicated, equalization meeting will be March 20th, beginning at 4:15. The next regular city council meeting will be April 6th at 6:30. And item number 27 is a need for executive session.
I'll make it,
First, oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion. We go into executive session for the purpose of discussing legal personnel issues according to SDCL 1-25-2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Mayor,
Okay, I will call us out of executive session. Is there our item number 28 is to approve a hire. Do we have a motion to approve?
And we can use the name and the hourly and everything.
Yep. We have, need
I-
to.
We need to. I make a motion that we approve a Wall Economic Development Corporation hiring Amy Madsen for the executive director position for economic development at a starting rate of $24.50 an hour.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other comments, concerns, discussion? If not, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
And Dan, please reflect that Dan has abstained. Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you, ladies. Okay. You have a good rest of the day.
Yes.
Okay, do we have any other business tonight? Okay, seeing none, I am going to call our meeting adjourned.